The Dallas Mavericks are heading to the second round, defeating the LA Clippers in 6 games, and what a luxury it is to have two dynamic backcourt mates in Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. That trade last year, it didn't reap the initial benefits. They missed the postseason and there was some chemistry issues, but Kyrie came back after a little bit of time he missed earlier in the season and found the flow with Luka Doncic. They've been one of the best teams after the All-Star break, and we, as many, think that they could be dark horse contenders in this Western Conference. The Mavs were much better than what this 6-game series indicates. It was really just two bad quarters, I think, where the Clippers played really good defense, and yes, they got good performances from Paul George and James Harden, but they just also have to attribute that to Dallas Mavericks shooting poorly from the field for a couple quarters. And they nearly rallied, especially in game 4, even taking the lead, but just couldn't seal the deal. It could have easily been a 5-game series, I think, but the Clippers also just didn't get to the 50-50 balls like the Mavericks did. They weren't as physical as the Mavericks were. That James Harden and Paul George, while yes, they were good for 2 games, they were mostly kind of blah. Mostly Paul George because he is the bigger player, but he is very easily swayed once he gets off his spot, and he can be a non-factor. And James Harden, I thought, was great with distributing the ball first 4 games. I think that was very good. But games 5 and 6, again, the shell of himself. When the moments matter the most, James Harden doesn't perform. Luka this time has some adequate help. In his first couple of postseason runs, he had Tim Hardaway Jr. and Kristaps Porzingis, and at the time they were 2 pretty decent players. Kristaps Porzingis was trying to revive his career after some time missed from a torn ACL, but he continued to have injury problems. Tim Hardaway also missed some time, but also just was ineffective in moments that Luka and the Mavs needed him most. Now with Kyrie, you have another guy that the defense has to pay attention to. You have 2 very good wing players in PJ Washington and Derrick Jones. Both can block shots. They are physical. They are tall, long defenders. They shoot threes as well. Then you have 2 pretty good big men. Daniel Gafford picked up in the middle of the season from the Washington Wizards, and Derrick Jones Jr., the younger center, the draft pick this year. They can block shots, they patrol the paint, they're great rebounders, also on the offensive side as well, and they're lob threats. So from top to bottom, all 3 major positions, the Mavericks have a couple of guys capable of doing so. Decent bench, but a thin bench. So they're gonna have to be a little bit better because Maxi Kleber is gonna be missing a little bit of time, probably even the postseason, unless things radically change with this treatment. But I do think they're going to be a very tough test against the OKC Thunder in round 2.